gang, thanks for watching. On today's film watching extravaganza, I'm going to show you a current Brown. I'm going to show you a former Brown. Got Nick Chubb, got Josh Gordon. Going to do Nick Chubb first, fulfilling a promise I made to you on the podcast that we'd take a look at his first game since Carlos Hyde was traded. And the first thing I can tell you about Week 7 is let's just take a look at the workload. Well, this was a lead back, third down back sort of arrangement with Chubb and Duke Johnson, at least for 1 week. First quarter, Chubb came out dominating carries, played 10 snaps to 5 for Johnson. When the Browns had a 2-minute drill, Chubb came off, Johnson came on. It's worth noting that Chubb did go out on pass routes and had a couple looks, neither of which he caught. But, I don't want to say anything's settled after one game. The Browns' backfield definitely has that look of the big back, small back. Both good players have their own roles. Team might not be great, but I also don't think the Browns are hopeless. I think I'd rather be starting the big back. If you've been looking for a place to play the games online, I play at betdsi.com. I've played there for more than 3 years now, and the best thing I can say about them is it's basically a commodity to me. Like, I don't think about it. I go to BetDSI and I find the odds and I place a bet and I don't think about it. And I think that's exactly what you want out of your online sports book. If you'd like to give them a try, if you've been thinking about a place to play the NFL games or any other sports, go to betdsi.com, use our promo code HarrisTube, and they will match your deposit up to $500. We thank BetDSI very much for sponsoring. Okay, let's get to some Nick Chubb film. This was his first carry on Sunday, and I think fairly typical of his outing. This is a well-blocked play. Watch number 18 there. That's the receiver, Damian Ratley, blocking down on a safety, and that gives Chubb a way to bounce outside. And now it's one-on-one, him and corner Brent Grimes. And Chubb doesn't exactly make a move. He's stronger. He's a lot bigger than Grimes. He does break that tackle, but he gets slowed down by that tackle and is easy pickings thereafter. Nothing wrong here, but that cut where Chubb turned it upfield, I don't know, Brent Grimes really isn't a tackler. I'd like to see Chubb do a little more. This is a good run. I think as he zigs and zags and zigs and zags, we see Chubb as someone who has good vision. He can turn thought into deed and change his vector. But I want to watch this run from behind, and I want to imagine this is Saquon Barkley. Each time he cuts, can't you imagine a truly explosive back accelerating out of one of these cuts and potentially making a bigger play? To me, this run looks like a Carlos Hyde run, which is fine. I like Carlos Hyde. Not being Saquon Barkley is not a sin. This is good stuff. This could honestly be Carlos Hyde, couldn't it? If I swapped uniform numbers, you wouldn't be surprised at all. Good patience to wait for the next crease to present itself in front of him. The defensive end gets a pretty good shot on Chubb's legs, but the running back powers through that contact, keeps his balance thanks to a hand on the ground, and carries a defender another 5 yards. Here's his 1-yard touchdown in the wake of a pass interference call in the end zone. There should be no doubt who gets these carries in the Browns offense for as long as Chubb is healthy. He's not always going to score because nobody always scores, but he's a load. He's a strong man. He'll get it in more often than he won't. And when the security blanket for some short touchdowns is there for your fantasy team, that helps. And here's maybe the platonic ideal of the best Chubb was on Sunday. This gets called back for holding. And again, you're not seeing extreme suddenness from him like the best thing that the big backs do sometimes, but he sees a way through a series of tacklers, is difficult to get a hold of, and then at the end there, now we are taking a head-on hit from a defensive back and saying, get the heck off me to get more yardage. This is a Carlos Hyde type run, and I like it. Then again, let's not pretend Chubb doesn't have good top-end speed when he gets up to speed. This is the Raider game a few weeks ago. The run starts slow, but that's a great move there in the open field on the deep safety, number 25 there. Most of Chubb's runs start pretty slow, but he's not a fast accelerator. Once he gets to the long runway, though, watch out. No question, he can take it the distance. I think for the moment, it's fair to be excited about Nick Chubb as an every week member of your fantasy starting lineup. Think of him as maybe a better, slightly souped up version of Carlos Hyde. I think a lot of weeks that's going to wind up with some good production for as long as he stays healthy. I do think that he's big enough to be a very exciting fantasy back. I just don't necessarily see, at least for 1 week, a ton of acceleration right at the point of the handoff. I don't see the stuff that sets apart the truly great running backs and therefore the truly great fantasy backs. I don't necessarily see with Nick Chubb yet, and he's not really going to have a tendency to contribute a ton in the passing game. But listen, this is the landscape of running backs and RB2s in fantasy football right now, and it was 1 game, so I am definitely pro Nick Chubb. All right, how about to Josh Gordon? Let's talk about his very big game in Week 7 against the Bears. I'm not going to bury the lead here. This is the play I most wanted to show you for this ex-Brown. Second quarter, Patriots losing, 4th and 1, and we have it paused so you can see what Tom Brady sees. He sees 8 men in the box. He sees a single safety high. He sees man coverage on 2 outside receivers. The Bears are selling out to stop a run on 4th and 1. Brady sends Julian Edelman in motion to verify that this is man coverage and that none of the defensive backs in the box are going to drop out. And that makes Brady's decision for him. He's going to throw it deep to Josh Gordon, running sort of a mini go route, kind of back shoulder fade that really isn't to the back shoulder, also known as a jump ball. And Gordon goes up over Kyle Fuller, and he grabs it, and his helmet flies off, and it's a first down. And this trust on a 4th and 1, a jump ball, this is important. This means something. This is a trust route, too. Gordon is wide right. It's a deep in against a zone coverage, and Brady throws it just as Gordon is coming out of his break. You'd better be right there, guy. You'd better be right there, or that ball could easily be intercepted, and Gordon gets there, and he makes the grab. And this is kind of a trust throw, too. A lot of defender bodies hanging around where Brady winds up throwing this one, and it's a perfect throw because he's Brady. It has to be low. Catch the ball, Josh. That's low on his frame with a purpose because otherwise he's going to take a hit or it's going to get picked. He needs to catch it. But overall, this is good, people. This is really good. This is increased trust in Josh Gordon and an increased workload as well, starting to treat Gordon like the top outside receiver of the New England Patriot, high-flying offensive machine. That's a good thing. Here's the workload. In these past 2 games, well, the snaps are up, and as you just saw on film, Brady's trust for him is up. Now, we're not going to go crazy. Even with all those snaps played, it's 9 catches the past 2 weeks. In utter shootouts, both of those games against the Chiefs and the Bears, Brady spreads the ball around. And we know this. We should resist the temptation to go too bonkers with Josh Gordon just yet. And if you really want to resist the urge to go bonkers and resist the urge to imagine Gordon is immediately everything he was back in 2013, here's his final catch against Chicago. It's a really good play. Brady finds him hanging around a soft spot in the zone. Gordon takes a hit from a defensive back and keeps going, but watch him run toward the end zone. We've been told Gordon has a hamstring problem, right? And sure looks like it there. Dude's not even really running hard, right? There's a chance to score a huge touchdown there, a long one. It'll salt the game away. This is not Josh Gordon dogging it. This is something that I think on the podcast I've told you throughout the 2018 season. His legs don't exactly seem to be under him. Now, maybe it's because he's hurt, or maybe it's because he doesn't exactly have his legs under him just yet after all the drama surrounding whether he was going to play in Cleveland. He didn't report to camp, all that stuff. But I think I just want to resist the urge to say, oh, Josh Gordon, immediately the unbelievable superstar that we saw way, way back in 2013. Maybe that isn't your temptation anyway, but just in case it is, I think there's something going on with Gordon that is legitimately injury-related or conditioning-related, and probably somewhat puts a cap on him until we see it. Now, all that said, he's really good, and he plays for a really good offense and maybe the best quarterback ever. So you don't have to resist the temptation to start Josh Gordon. You should be starting Josh Gordon. I just don't necessarily view him as a top 20 fantasy receiver just now. Brady spreads it around to all his outside receivers a ton. Remember, Gronk didn't play in that game. So there are going to be some ups and downs, and maybe not quite the big plays that we want there to be, like we remember from 2013 with the Browns, but it's growing. It's definitely growing.
Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.